You're listening to the Real Returns podcast, where we learn how real investments can make a real impact. Join your hosts, Andrew and Dan, as they share stories and interview business leaders on how real estate and other forms of investment can create meaningful change for individuals and communities around the world.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Returns podcast. I am your host, Andrew Reichert, and I'm really excited for the episode that we have today. It is some close personal friends of mine, and I'm joined with my co-host who's actually going to introduce them, Dan Croce.
Hey everybody,
what's happening?
It's great to be here again today. In honor of us having our first ever married couple on the show, Andrew, I'm going to start today with a little marriage joke, okay?
Let's do it. Sounds great. I thought you were going to propose to me.
I would never. I know better than that. Two antennas got married. The wedding was okay, but the reception was incredible. You get it? You get it?
Hey, antennas, reception. There it is. Our listeners may not know, but Dan is the king of dad jokes, and that one definitely qualifies.
You just got to follow the pun guy on Twitter. He makes it too easy. Anyway, it is my pleasure to introduce today Madi and Patrick Gergen. We are thrilled to have them aboard. They are the co-founders of American Multifamily Alliance Group. Madi is the president, and Patrick is the CEO. The firm is a real estate private equity firm based in Dallas. They buy multifamily properties, and together they have over 50 years of combined experience. So we are really thrilled to have them on the show today and to learn a little bit about how they invest for impact and how they run their business. So Madi and Patrick, welcome aboard. Would you mind introducing yourselves and tell our guests a little bit about who you are?
Okay, sure. Hi, everybody. This is Patrick Gergen speaking here. And so, I think for me, when we got started and a little bit about ourselves, is that, like many of you probably listening, I read that darn book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And, and I'd already purchased rental houses. I started buying homes when I was 19, picked up a couple of them. So I started off early, but I read that darn book. And I thought, oh my goodness, I need to get going here, and I need to get in that other category of the investment entrepreneur category. So started buying houses and really kind of took that more of a full-time profession. And the grass always seems to look greener on the other side. And so for us it was, as we graduated, I guess they could say, from single-family homes, I got into commercial real estate. I took some training. I had worked for a gentleman. His name was Ron LeGrand. And when I worked for him, I worked my way up to be his Southwest Divisional Project Manager. And part of that is that I would go to these events and I would help pre-screen the deals. And, oftentimes there were like 300, 350 people. I'm going back to 2005, 6, and 7. And I was in an event, and we were in Las Vegas, and there was like 350 people in the room, and I met Madi. And so I was the one pre-screening the deals. Well, anyway, guys, she brought like a stack, like 17 deals high. I just could not believe it. And so I put the little star on her business card. And
then you married me.
And then I married her.
Now I know what those gold stars on business cards mean. That's your way of flirting.
It's just so funny because literally we ended up, of course, getting married, which has just been amazing on so many levels. But it was really cool just being able to work with someone who's my best friend. And I'll let Madi kind of talk a little bit about her background, but it's just been a great, just very, very cool path that we've been on.
Yeah, so I had, hi everybody, thanks guys for having us on today. We really appreciate that, and we're looking forward to this interview. So so we, like Patrick said, I started in real estate as well. I'm Canadian, Patrick's American, but I was doing real estate in Canada, had moved from houses to fourplexes and then multifamily, and then was doing commercial in Canada, and then decided, when this boot camp came on, it was in 2010. So America was on sale, and Canada had got hit too, but it was not as much as the States, and I kind of wanted to see what was happening in the States and how they were going about buying deals in the States. So that's when I attended the boot camp. Patrick had an amazing business plan for buying apartment buildings in Dallas, Texas. And I really liked the business plan and had investors and whatnot in Canada as well that were interested. So, eventually we were working together, eventually got married and got my green card and stuff in the U.S. And now we're in Dallas. So, yeah, it's been really good.
Wow. And it all started with a stack of papers and a gold star on a business card. I mean, that is a fun story. So I got to ask the question that I know is going to be on everybody's mind that is listening. What is it like being married and being business partners? Tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, we also have 7 kids, Andrew. So so we have to add them in too.
I want to hear about that too. Dan and I have 7 combined. Dan has 4 and I have 3.
Which is too many.
I think what's helped us is that we have our different departments that we oversee. So we're not crossing lanes too much. Or if we are crossing lanes, she'll say, "This is my lane here." So that's always good. We've got some good ideas, and we joke around, but we've always had coaches. And so our coaches are really nice because they help give you clarity when you're working, especially with your wife and business partner. You want to be able to have those lanes. And so that's really helped us. It's been a big strategic advantage, and it's really cool being able to work with my best friends. Certainly there's been moments and some stressful moments that we've had, but just the good by far really outweighs some of the challenges that we have to overcome.
Yeah, and we've had to be careful to, separate our home life from our business life. And, but we both highly regard each other. We have a lot of respect for each other and the other person's knowledge base and respect for each other's opinions. So it's, when we're done work, and if we accidentally, say something about work, the other one will remind, oh, hey, let's not talk about work. It's the evening. And, so we really do try and keep that separated. And, so when we're with the kids at night or on the weekends or doing our own thing, we also plan date night every Friday night. So that helps, gives us something to kind of look forward to as well besides business.
And you know what she does too, guys? It's interesting because we have 7 children. She plans a honeymoon for us every year as well. Because when you have a honeymoon, that just kind of goes without saying with our children that, hey, this is Patrick and Maddie's time to go away. So
otherwise, everywhere we travel, they all want to come.
Yeah, which is really fun too.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a key component has been creating and maintaining boundaries. So you each have your own lanes in the office, and you create boundaries around that. You create boundaries around your work life and around your evenings, and you create boundaries around yourself and the honeymoon concept and your children. Right. So it's really, you've created and kind of maintained boundaries. Yeah. How do you think of that within the business? You mentioned you each have your own lanes. What are those lanes?
It's not that we never overlap, because we do overlap to some degree, and we do meet and go over different things, and we kind of take care of different ends of things. But Patrick's a real big thinker, and so as far as our expansion, Patrick oversees it, and he's a real big thinker, and I'm more detail orientated. I oversee the operations. Patrick, I don't know if you have more to add to that.
Yeah, and it's a big advantage because we're vertically aligned. We'll kind of maybe talk about that a little bit more, but like the women that oftentimes it's women that are our managers, they really, really look up to Madi and they respect her, and it just really creates that buy-in on being able to do operations. So she's just really amazing on so many levels, but especially when we're vertically aligned and we're self-managing and she's overseeing that side of it. Really, really effective.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit more about your business. Multifamily real estate, vertically integrated, so you self-manage. You raise capital from investors, and beyond that, tell us a little bit more about what it looks like. And I'd love to hear your mission statement as I think that somewhat aligns to what our listeners like to hear about.
Okay, well, we opened American Multifamily Alliance Group in 2011. From there, we started to have third-party management, but we struggled with it, and Patrick and I were having to micromanage a lot and whatnot. So we decided to open up Bella Vista Management in 2013. So we've self-managed our properties ever since then. As time went on, we started to really have a mission for social impact. And Patrick, maybe you want to talk a little bit about how that came to be.
Well, yeah, so interestingly enough, we were looking at our real estate portfolio as multiple streams of income. And we were looking at purchasing a couple of businesses, and they were cannabis businesses. And it's not that we have anything against cannabis, certainly, but when we were really digging in deep into the business details, we thought, it was going to be the CBD and you have cream and there's just different things. But when we really dug in, we realized that the money was going to be made on the recreational side. And then when they were talking about the marketing, a lot of the marketing was really geared towards younger adults. And we looked at each other and we were saying, this isn't what we want to do. We don't really want to do this. And the beautiful part about that exercise, though, is we realized, gosh, we've always had great customer service, and it's a great business model with a real estate portfolio. To your point, Andrew, we have a whole new light on our mission, and our mission statement then began to, let's make a positive social impact in our residents' lives, and then let's lead with that. And so it's really cool, because when people talk with us now, we say, well, actually we have two products. Our number one product is we create a positive social impact in our residents' lives. A byproduct of that is that our financial returns are higher and our risk is lower, because when you really put your residents first, just a whole slew of things happen, but certainly lower move-out rates, higher retention rate, our bad debt's lower, and then if you have like a curveball like COVID that comes around, you're already community oriented, well then it was just a lot easier for us to be able to pivot, because a lot of our residents were letting us know, look, I'm furloughed or I've been laid off, and I'll let Maddie describe a little bit, but boy, did she go to work and helping our residents find jobs or find charitable contributions, because we're tied into the local churches as well because of our causes. So it's really cool.
Yeah, Maddie, I'd love to hear more about that. What was COVID like, and how did that impact you guys in terms of your business strategy?
Well, we didn't have to. We didn't have to shut down for long as far as our programs go. We did different. We focused on things that were outdoors. The children's programs, because what we do to impact lives is we do after-school programs, free after-school programs for the residents. We also do tutoring of the children. We do 2 resident events a month. We do a lot of learning opportunities as well. And we buy C-class properties and then renovate them in order to bring them up to a B-. And the reason that we buy C-class is so that because that's the communities that we feel that we can impact the most. They're working people, and we do things in order to be able to help them and their families. During COVID, at first, you're just pivoting, right? You're just pivoting right at the beginning, and had to shut down. But we didn't shut down. I think we only missed 1 month of programming. From then, like I said, we were focused on doing outdoor programs. We reached out to the churches. Some of our residents don't speak English or Spanish speaking, whatnot. We had them come in. We helped them fill in applications for different programs that would help them as far as paying rents, and just reached out to the churches and communities and knocked on the doors and found out where there was work, that they might be able to get work, and made sure that all the residents knew about that. So until we were able to restart our children's programs and move everything forward. But we also feed the residents every day, so for the children. So we have 2 meals a day. So what we did is we put them in brown bags and set out tables, and they could still come and get that, so that we could make sure that the kids at least had 1 good meal a day and whatnot. So
let me get this straight. You feed the kids that live in your residences 2 meals a day.
In
That
the
is-
summer,
or-
it's 2 meals, and during the school year, they get a meal after school.
That was a
amazing.
government program, right, Maddie?
Yeah.
With that? Yeah, government
It
program.
is, yeah.
as well,
It's
too,
a government program, and so there's a lot of things that you can search for to help keep your costs low on this if you just really dig, And so that's what we do. We also use vendors. Like some of our vendors will pitch in for different things, and it's actually our team. It's our team that does all the work for the putting everything together. So we're not hiring out additional labor or anything like that neither. So even Santa Claus at Christmas comes and takes pictures with the children and gives them little gifts and whatnot. And one child said, "I didn't know Santa was Hispanic." So it's our teams doing the work, So we're all on board. We're all, moving towards a common goal. And when we hire, we make sure that they're on the same mission as we are.
That is so cool. And
Yeah.
I mean, what an incredible competitive advantage you must have. If I'm a resident and I can pick to live in, apartment building A over here that is just, your typical landlord, or your building, which is going to, provide engagement and support in my parenting journey, that's really remarkable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about the engagement piece. You guys mentioned you do some resident events at your properties. I'd love to hear more about that. My sense is that, particularly during COVID, folks have isolated a little bit, and there's probably some loneliness at your properties. What does it look like to connect your residents to each other?
Well, we do 2 different events minimum per month. So, if it's Mother's Day, usually every Mother's Day we do an outdoor movie theater. We bring in the big theater and do, movies. Then we'll also that month have the children come in and make a gift for their mothers. We would do Father's Day events, Valentine's, Christmas, any type of holiday party, back to school. We've done where they've gotten free haircuts for back to school. We've done even soccer between communities. So we do a lot of events that make it community, barbecues, and the team kind of comes up with some ideas that they feel would benefit the community and that they would enjoy. And then I usually go through it with them about 6 months in advance. So we try and stay about 6 months ahead, and then each building does the same event on the same day every month. So, and then we also have some learning events. So we've done budgeting classes for them. We've done self-defense classes. We've put in self-help libraries into our buildings that also have Spanish, books written in Spanish as well. And so we just, do a lot of different things, whatever we can get kind of creative with, and keep our costs, in line as well.
Yeah, it makes sense. Kind of speaking of your costs and keeping them in line, how do you think of like ROI? I know you mentioned your investors, it's actually good for them and good for returns. But I know a lot of investors would look at that programming and just see dollar signs, in terms of expense. Now, you did mention some of it government helps out with, but how do you think of ROI for the dollars that you're spending on those resident events and activities and programs?
That's a great question, because the big, I think, educational piece that we like to educate our investors is that when you're focused on a double bottom line, meaning that it's not just your dollars, it's not just the investment, but it's the impact as well. You can do really well if it's done right. Some people look at our events and they say, "Are you guys like quasi nonprofit?" And we say, absolutely not. No, we're completely for profit. I mean, we're raising rents and we're doing value adds and we're doing things, but we like to educate our investors and let them know you can really make an impact at the same time as providing good housing and taking care of work orders. So you've got your basic rocks are you're going to take care of work orders and you're going to treat them like human beings. And then you take it that next step and you really create those programs that, to your point, Andrew, it does cost money, But the savings that we have in our lower turnover rate, and picture yourself being one of the residents. They're just more likely to pay rent because they feel like respect. And even if they're not maybe using the after school programs, or they didn't go to the budgeting class, or the immigration attorney, when an immigration attorney showed up, they look at it like, well, these guys are actually pretty decent. I'm gonna take care of the building a little bit more. So if there's any work orders that are maybe creating problems or water leaks, they're more apt to call us for that. And so our bad debt is lower, our retention's higher, and it more than makes up for the expenses that we have. We could even do a government program for our after-school program, but we opted to do it privately because the government-sponsored programs, we have like video cameras in there where the kids are, and we found it was just too much babysitting, and they're finding out where the cameras are, they've got their phone, they're in the corner, and we were saying, that's not what we're about. We really want this to be an effective program. And so we do pay for some things, but to answer your question, the overall net absolutely exceed financials in the costs that we put out for the impacts.
Can you tell us a little bit about, I'm not too familiar with your actual, the nuts and bolts of your business. So it's all in Dallas, is that right? All the investing that you do?
It is currently. Yeah, currently it's all in Dallas.
I'm just curious to understand a little bit about the market that you invest in. Why is Dallas a good place to invest? And even maybe what's an average C-class 1 or 2 bedroom apartment go for these days in your portfolio?
Well, there's lots of reasons why we're investing in Dallas. No state income tax. It's extremely landlord friendly. We years ago when we were, cleaning out buildings, we were able to help clean buildings just based on how landlord friendly it is and the options that we have available to us then. And it's got so much growth and still a lot of opportunity for growth, and especially when you look at other cities like LA or New York or Seattle and where the prices have gone, there's still a lot of room for growth and movement. And there's so much in migration coming into Dallas, from people moving from different areas to businesses moving in. So it's just been really great for us out there. And it's been an awesome experience for us out there over the last 12 years.
And to add just a little bit to put it in some dollars, like you can follow the 1% rule. You can buy units for $1,100 a month, have rent be $1,100 a month, and you're buying it for $110,000 per unit. So when you're looking at that, and most people, probably most of your listeners, you just are not able to get that 1% rule. So to Maddie's point, lots of room for growth. And then we continue to stack all the cards. We're very conservative, so we want to be in certain classes. Of course, we love real estate like you guys do because it's just a beautiful, beautiful real estate class to be in. We like workforce housing, love that class. They're not building it anymore. They always say, well, how do you get workforce housing? You build it and you wait 50 years. And it's the unfortunate truth of the way workforce housing is created. They're just not building enough of it. And then you stack on a value add on top of it. So we come in there and we're not buying a property that doesn't have a value add component just by raising rents, and then we do all the other things for the value add. So it creates nice returns, certainly risk adjusted returns.
I noticed when you mentioned that you're in Dallas, you said that's where you currently are. What does the next 5-10 years look like for you? What are your hopes and aspirations and growth plans?
I'll let you take that, Patrick. You're the big picture guy.
Okay. I think we're going to stay in Dallas for a little bit. It has so many things that are good, and we have boots on the ground, self-manage our teams there. When we do expand, we'll look around. It might be Orlando or Jacksonville or Las Vegas. Certainly we'll hit certain areas that are sun belts, and we'll focus on certain areas that are business friendly, landlord friendly, and are leaders in job growth and migration, things like that. But certainly we'll expand out. But right now, boy, Dallas just really looks good. So we'll stay there for a few years.
Yeah. And I've got to think some of the benefit of that is you have those existing relationships with the local municipalities and, these programs that you're working with. And I would think that stuff just takes time to develop. So are those things you're thinking about when you think about new markets? How can you have that measurable impact that you've had in Dallas elsewhere?
For sure.
Yeah.
We do look at that. However, a lot of our impact programs come down to our team. So, it's who we're hiring, it's who we're bringing on board, and that they're all having they all have the same mission and vision, and they understand that. We've even had some of our team members get it so much that, during COVID, we had one of our managers said to me, yeah, there was one lady, her husband was hospitalized and she was about to, for COVID, and she was about to catch the bus, and the weather was really bad. And so she said, you know what, let me send you in an Uber, and let me know when you're done at the hospital. I'll send an Uber to come and pick you up. And she did that out of, her own heart, just wanting to help. And when the lady got back, she said, I will never forget what you did for me. So, they have a heart for it themselves as well, the team. And so a very clear understanding. Patrick and I meet with them and we go over that and discuss it, and so that when they're hiring as well, they're careful to be choosing people with the same vision. So, I don't really, some of it's government help and whatnot, but a lot of it is really done ourselves. And so I don't really worry going into another market, because you'll find people who have a mission for impact wherever you go, so, yeah.
Yeah. And how do you find those people? Like, I just sort of imagine you sitting down in an interview and saying, now, do you really care about people? Like, what does it look like to actually screen for somebody that's aligned with your mission?
Waiting for them to say that the residents love me. That's like a big one, because we have tried and tried, Andrew and Dan, to teach our residents to have that impact, that empathy. We were not successful doing that. We have found that with some of our maintenance people, very, very good at executing, and this goes with a lot of residents, they'll come in because of the office team, but they'll stay because of your maintenance team. They want to make sure that the property's being taken care of and the work orders are getting done. And we have found that there were some maintenance people that could execute, but just could not teach them the empathy. Tried, and so ultimately we have found that it's just better to hire a certain type of person. And so, to your point, during that interview process, we're waiting for signs without asking the question for them to say, my residents love me, or just different words that mean those along those same lines. And then we've got somebody that we can work with.
And you don't always get it right, Sometimes you hire and then you realize that, but the nice thing is, our team understands that mission. So if someone is hired that, doesn't really fit the team, then, we know about it pretty quickly. So, yeah.
One of the things that we like to ask guests on the show, and I'm curious to hear with you guys in particular, is how you think about measuring the success of the impact that you're having. We're in the same business as you guys, so it's easy to measure the cash flow and the NOI and those things, and it can be a little bit harder to at the end of the day tell how we're really doing on some of these other important pursuits of ours. So how do you guys think about sort of grading yourselves or measuring your progress?
Well, I was just going to say it's a great question, because we literally have talked about the fact that we need to get better at measuring things. So there's certain things that are easier for us, like crime stats will go down, and the occupancy goes up, and if you have
renewals are higher than the average. Like in Dallas, average is 50% turnover every year. And so we pay attention to those. Every month we look at, okay, where are we at as far as that average, so, and we're pretty much always quite a bit higher than that average. So we watch different things like that, but totally agree. Patrick and I are always talking about how can we measure this. You know, we've done different things like we pay attention to how many people showed up at the events.
You know, like the budgeting
You know, when we've done.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. And so how many people are showing up? You know, one area that we want to target more, we feel that we've been very effective with families and children, parents. We've done parenting classes, different things like that. But where we would like to focus on in the future is teenagers. So anxiety, depression, teen pregnancy, different things like that. And so we've had discussions as to how can we do this. We have done a couple of events, but we didn't have a big show from teenagers.
Right.
So we're trying to figure out, okay, what do we have to do in order to get the teenagers out and be able to focus there?
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, I'm just inspired by how much you're doing to begin with. I frankly don't think I've heard of another multifamily operator that is doing as extensive work as you are. So I'm sure the impact is there. It's just something that, you know, folks like us and like-minded people are always trying to figure out how to get better at measuring these. So helpful to hear your perspective.
For sure.
Well, it's been great to hear a little bit of how you guys think of impact and how you're thinking about, social double bottom line impact for your, for your investors and for your residents. So just one kind of concluding question, then I'll hand it over to Dan to go through the lightning round. What's next on your guys' radar in terms of either raising capital or expanding? Are you guys moving to a new fund or anything along those lines?
We have a fund in place.
Anything you want to share?
And we're raising capital for our fund. And our business model is we're going to be buying C-class apartment buildings, and with workforce housing still leave a component, but we're certainly going to do a value add. We'll still have residents we refer to as our unsung heroes and really work hard to create that community for them. And most importantly, we like to say we're going to have financial returns that can outperform. So it's a pretty good space. So we're really excited to start buying and expanding. We got boots on the ground and we're ready to scale this.
And part of that is, we'll continue with self-management, and self-management is what really helps us to be able to drive deep within the organization with the social impact. But yes, we're ready to, really push it forward and start expanding. And we do see in the market now, we're seeing some opportunities come up, and so we're watching closely and underwriting a lot of properties right now. And what we are doing, we do have a property that we've owned for 11 years now, Bella Vista Point. That's being sold, and it's being seeded into the fund as a new purchase. So, so that'll be the first property that's going into this fund.
That's exciting. Well, I'm excited to follow your story. Patrick and Maddie, I think you're doing amazing things. So thanks for sharing a little bit about that. Dan, you want to take us through the lightning round?
I've enjoyed getting to know your business, and now we get to know you a little bit on a personal level. I'm tempted to have you answer these questions for each other to see if you know.
Sure.
Should we try that? And then you can say if you got them right or wrong. All right. Your biggest win, personal or professional? We'll
Her
go with
biggest
Patrick.
win.
You
I
answer
know this is going to sound bad, but I know it
can.
because she said it. Yeah.
Marrying you.
No.
Is that what you're going to say?
No.
Oh, it was a layup. Yeah.
I knew he was going to say that, and now you're going to ask me, Dan, and I'm going to say his biggest win, he would say, is marrying me.
All right. I love it. Oh, that's beautiful.
We know the answers.
Yeah, you guys got it figured out.
That's a good one. Awesome. Well, I love that answer. Favorite movie?
With Patrick, I would probably say The Matrix.
Yeah,
Patrick,
I
am
like
I right on
movie.
that?
It's just so forward thinking, so many years ago, talking about AI. And I think for hers, it's going to be, she loves music, and she really enjoyed when we watched A Star Is Born. Yeah, so Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a good one.
How about a favorite food?
Okay, so for
You go
her,
ahead,
it's going to
Patrick.
be chicken and waffles.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm digging
Nice.
into that
Yeah.
southern Texas food. And
That's
Patrick,
it.
I'd definitely say Thai food.
Yeah,
Thai
I like Thai food.
Thai food's his favorite. Yeah.
Are you getting them right
Waffles,
for each
you
other
think?
so far?
I think so. Oh, well,
Yeah.
yeah, the movie. I like my
Except the
favorite
movie, I know.
lately. I think has been in The Pursuit of Happiness. I really like that movie. I just think there's so many of us are on
Yeah.
that journey, and that's why we're all listening to podcasts like this. So it's pretty powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, that was powerful. I remember that one.
Yeah, it's good.
How about a growth edge? What's something you're working on or trying to get better at?
Oh.
Well,
You can answer for yourselves if you.
Okay, all right. Well, we're both taking, we're taking strategic coaching together, and so that's been a major growth thing for us, and it's helping to guide us each quarter. So we're excited
just
about
always
that.
looking to become better leaders. So to Maddie's point, just really getting that executive coaching, it really keeps us sharp and the ability to get to the next level.
I admire that about you guys. I picked up on the fact that that's become a pretty popular thing to do lately, but it sounds like it's something that you've been committed to for a while. So I admire that.
Yeah, we've had a coach. We have another coach as well, and we've been working with him, with Lee Patrick, probably
Yeah.
5 years now. So so it's been amazing. We're big into being able to
Yeah.
get coached
That's
through
nice.
everything. So it's been good.
Dan, that one really could have been loaded if they answered for each other. Like, he's trying to get better at doing the dishwasher, like unloading and loading the dishwasher. He's really trying to get
I
better.
gave
at
them
that.
a pass on that one.
Yeah, good call on the
Yeah.
pass on that
Yeah.
one. We're trying to keep them married.
And this one, you can answer for yourselves too, because it might be hard to answer for the other one. A+ content that you're taking in, any podcasts or books or anything that you've taken in lately
I
that you
know for
recommend?
me, I'm YPO. YPO is it's like a networking organization, and I have found that the content is nice. I'm really paying attention, especially as the economy's shifting and things like that. So to your point, it's getting on those programs. That and I attend Columbia Business School as an executive education program once a week for a week, and I find it just keeps me in tune to what's going on.
He meant
It's
once a
1
year.
week.
Once a year for a week.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot once a week for a
Sorry,
week.
once a year.
You wouldn't have time for much else.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I agree with Patrick. I'm a spouse in YPO and running some on the board and just attending a lot of different events of theirs. Like even last week, it was there was a Dr. Sleep was on, and he was teaching through the week about how to get better sleep. So just that, and then I also I'm reading the book Life Force, which is a really thick one from Tony Robbins there, but it gives a lot of up and coming medical advancements and information as to what's out there that you don't realize, or that what's coming in the next few years, in the next 10 years, for health. So we like to dig into that a bit too.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys both so much for being on the show. Hey, if our listeners want to connect with you, what's the best way to connect? Is it your website or LinkedIn, or what's the best way to
Our
connect with you?
website is www.multifamilyalliance, ALLIANCE.com. So you can definitely connect through there.
Or LinkedIn.
Or Patrick, through
Through
LinkedIn
And we just
as
wanted
well.
to give a shout
Yes.
out to the two of you. It's really cool. It's just so nice to be able to feel this synergy and to see everything that you guys are doing. And you certainly have this podcast going, and so you're really spreading the word. It's just want to say kudos to you guys for putting it out there for all of the listeners. It's really cool to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very,
nice.
very impressive, guys. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you both so much for the kind words and for being on the show. And I'm excited to just follow alongside you. I think we're doing neat things in the industry, and I suspect that you guys will continue to have a major impact in the markets that you serve. So thanks for being on the show. Thanks to our listeners for listening in. Hopefully this added value as you listen to how these folks are thinking of impact in their communities and in the properties that they serve. So thanks again, Patrick and Maddie, for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Real Returns Podcast. We hope that you learned something new about how you can invest to make a lasting impact on those around you. Please be sure to subscribe to our show wherever you listen to your podcasts, leave us a review, and share about us on social media. We hope you will join us for our next episode, where we will be continuing the conversation around impactful real estate investing.